give me some ideas how you approach cultural change and something that works just for us to get a little bit more insights.
Culture is at the base of everything. And in my case, it was a story of good to great. Nothing was broken. It was really a story from good to great.
Right.
But the good that we had was not going to be as good as it was in a more challenging world, in a more disruptive world, in a world that was evolving the way it turned out to be evolving. So it was very important that we embrace that very early on and do it. And
was it, by the way,
said,
Alain, sorry to interrupt, was it clear to the organization that whatever was becoming predictable was not accepted anymore as good as it was before? Was it clear in the organization?
Yes.
The level of
it was, and this is where usually you have the stress between why suddenly what was good is not good enough.
Right.
So, and this is where I think leaders have a big role to play, and specifically CEO, is to communicate and articulate that this is not about us becoming more difficult. It's about really adapting to where we are going and explaining clearly why what was great until yesterday, is not enough today, and is going to be way below the expectations tomorrow or after tomorrow. I think that's very important.
Right.
But usually in organization, you see that the grassroots understands it. You see that the grassroots really get it because they are at the coal face. They are facing the customers. They are dealing with, the external world and so on and so forth. Then you have the top layer, and this is under the CEO, what I call the crust of anything, the permafrost on top. And this is where people have strong views and people have the most at stake. And this is where you start to have that difference of opinion sometimes and so on, and resistance. So you have to be very clear about how to go about it. I would say clear in terms of explaining and showing the way for people. But when someone does not want to actually contribute to the effort, you also have to, there has to be consequence management. If there is no consequence management, you cannot change any organization. It's very important to have consequence management.
You made some tough decisions in terms of getting rid of people that were not embracing change.
Of course. You have to get rid of people that are simply, they cannot get, sometimes in good faith, they can't get themselves to really understand why they have to change. It's not ill-intended. And sometimes they prioritize their own interest, their own way of seeing things, their own, I would say,
it's a self-interest, right?
In a way, selfish interest, as you say, about things. So moving the organization with you is extremely important, and showing people what you are doing. Transparency is extremely important for people to really understand. We were here, we got here, and these are the challenges that we are still facing. How are we going to go about it? And people feel that they are accompanying you on the journey. It's not about I said so, it has to happen. It's really about making sure that you create ambassadors of change makers in the organization. People feel empowered, and all of that, as you said, needs to be done through working on culture, making sure that we are turning the culture to become an enabling culture and not allowing the culture to become a disabling culture. Because at the end of the day, what is culture? An organization culture, what is it? It's the sum of the non-written, I would say, behaviors, that people practice in an environment. They set non-written rules, and these rules tend to actually govern the way people do things. Yes, we've got PNPs that says so. Yes, we have a manual that says that. Yes, we have, etc. But in reality, this is how we do things here. I'm sure this is something that you hear it when you visit in any organization, and the people that are listening to us now, I'm sure they also hear it this is not how we do things here. This is not how we go about it.
And normally there is a strong differentiation between how they're really working and what the system and process say.
Exactly. So it's very important to make sure that working on that culture is happening in a continuous way. And, the way I used to say it to my people at the time was, working on culture is like personal hygiene. This is not an initiative. This is not a project. This is a lifelong, continuous effort. This is like, showering every day. Yes. We can't say to each other, I'm clean, I showered last week or last month. You shower today, you're clean, and then the day after or in the evening, you will shower again. You're not going to say, I showered yesterday, why am I showering again today? This is like personal hygiene. You brush your teeth. You don't say, I brushed my teeth last month. And working on culture is something that is in the same vein. It is a continuous effort. Everyone has to own culture, because you have to continuously make sure that you shape the culture of the organization in the right way. You cannot buy a culture. Culture is something that you develop. And because it's something that you develop, the only thing you can do about culture is to shape it. Yes. You can't say our culture now is going to move from here to here. You have to shape it for it to go there. You shape it by influencing the behaviors of people and by getting people to understand how their individual behaviors have an impact on the culture of the organization. A lot of people would come to you and tell you why things are not working. A lot of people would come and tell you why they are facing obstacles or etc. But what people will not always see is how their own behaviors are shaping that reality, that culture. Yes. So we need to take people from feeling that they are part of the problem to actually become part of the solution.
Yes.
When you are part of the problem, you don't feel it. But when you are part of the solution, you actually feel it. So moving people from being part of the solution is something that is extremely important. And for people to ask themselves, how am I helping the situation, rather than how am I complaining about the situation?